The slowing down of Earth's spin did in fact take place, and it's revealed in ancient astronomers' tablets. And we know that this is what scientists are saying. Something may cause the Earth to spin faster. For example, glaciers melting could change the Earth's spin, making it faster. And also the axis could shift. And now this is a revelation concerning past pole shifts and what took place. Slowing of Earth's spin revealed in ancient astronomers' tablets. The time it takes our planet to do a full rotation has increased every century due to friction caused by tides. The work of ancient astronomers reveals that the Earth's spin is slowing down, though not as much as scientists believed. Each century, the length of our solar day, or the time it takes the planet to do a full rotation, is growing by almost 2 milliseconds. It's growing by 1.8 milliseconds. That's each century, according to a new study using astronomical observations going back to 750 BC. Researchers have known that the planet's rotation is slowing because of friction caused by tides, as water that's being tugged on by the moon's gravity sloshes against the solid Earth. Kindly support my Patreon account since YouTube has again demonetized my YouTube channel. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below. So it's the tides that are causing this. Now, however, the measurements of this tidal effect suggest that the planet should be slowing in its rotation by 2.3 milliseconds per century, slightly more than the new research finds. The difference between 2.3 milliseconds and 1.8 milliseconds over a century may seem trivial, said science study leader researcher Leslie Morrison, who worked at the Royal Greenwich Observatory of the UK for nearly 40 years. But those fractions of milliseconds are important for understanding the ways that the Earth has changed shape since the end of the last ice age about 12,000 years ago, Morrison told Live Science. Well, we know what happened about 12,000 years ago. We also had, 12,800 years ago, we had a comet impact, and that comet fragmented into many pieces that hit all around the world. So it's not only the tides. Perhaps there was tsunamis. So let's keep that in mind. Now, ancient records, Morrison and his colleagues have been working on measuring the Earth's rotation for decades. The new study is perhaps the most comprehensive effort yet, Morrison said, mostly because the ancient Babylonians were so good at keeping records. By 720 BC, this civilization, located in what is now Iraq, was keeping records on clay tablets in a written language called cuneiform. When archaeologists discovered some of these tablets in Babylon ruins in the 1800s, the language had been lost, and it took decades to decipher those original tablets. Fortunately for modern-day Earth scientists, some of these tablets happen to contain records of eclipses, particularly solar eclipses, when the moon moves between the sun and our Earth, casting a shadow on our Earth. These eclipses tended to make an impression on ancient people, Morrison said. The events also strengthened tides slightly because the alignment between the Earth, the Moon, and the Sun meant a stronger pull on the planet and its oceans. Morrison said the descriptions of a total solar eclipse are so graphic, and he included descriptions like, when the day suddenly turned to night and the stars appear. Now, the researchers also collected eclipse observation records from ancient China, ancient Greece, and the ancient Arab regions. The timing of the eclipses from these descriptions, however, conflicts with calculations of when the eclipses should have occurred if tidal friction alone explained the slowdown of the planet's rotation. In 720 BC, Morrison said the discrepancy was about 7 hours between what the tablets reported and what calculations based on the tidal models would have predicted. Morrison said that discrepancy is the measure of how much the Earth has been changing over this period of time. Morrison is working backwards from the discrepancy. The team calculated how long the days have lengthened over the centuries. He and his colleagues published their findings in the journal Proceedings of the Royal Society A. Now, J-physics parameters. Calculating the Earth's rotation time down to less than a millisecond matters because that number says something about the way the very shape of our planet has changed, said Duncan Agnew, geophysicist, University of California, San Diego. He was not involved in the study, but that's what he says. The major change since 720 BC relates to the end of the Ice Age, Agnew said. The planet is like a memory foam mattress, Agnew said, gradually rebounding as the ice retreats. The glaciers retreated 12,000 years ago, but the Earth has taken its time in bouncing back during the time that it's been relieved of the weight. That change in the shape alters Earth's rotation, much as a figure skater can change the speed of a spin by drawing her or his arms in or throwing them out wide. That shape change, which requires knowing the precise speed of the spin to calculate, is key for many other geophysical calculations. Agnew said, for example, when measuring sea level change, climate scientists must be able to account for changes in the land. Agnew said this data gives us another piece of information. Morrison and his team also used data on lunar occultation, or the times when the moon passes in front of a star, blocking it from view, collected since the 1750s. Changes in Earth's rotation since that time are probably mostly due to changes in the dynamics of the liquid iron core deep in the center of the Earth, Agnew said. Very little is known about this liquid core, so the measurements of its effect on the planet's spin are important for future research, he said. This might seem like a bit of a dry subject, Agnew said, but if we're not for the staggering fact that all of these measurements would be impossible to calculate if fellow humans had not felt compelled to record astronomical events thousands of years ago. There are a bunch of guys back in what is now Iraq. 2,500 years ago, there were a bunch of guys putting things in clay tablets. They weren't thinking that 2,500 years later, somebody was going to be writing a paper about Earth's rotation, Agnew said. Those tablets were later lost and buried, only to be discovered by future generations of enterprising Homo sapiens, that is us. Agnew said it's kind of amazing that this information exists at all. This is by Stephanie Pappas of Life Science, and it's on Bended Reality. Please leave your comments, and thank you so much for your support.